Hi, welcome. That was quite a performance you put on out there, and you spoke quite a bit of German. And
Right.
yeah, and one of you said, alles hat ein Ende, nur die Wurst hat zwei. Do you know what that means?
Yes, everything has an end except the sausage has two.
Yeah, right, right. And where did you get that?
To know,
Yeah,
found it online or
we
something.
were just talking before the show. Just wanted some different things to say, and yeah, that it's an old song, is it?
I think so.
Is it?
Quite
Yeah,
popular here, like 34 years ago or something,
Yeah.
apparently. But
yeah.
yeah, we were literally just looking up interesting phrases, and that seemed to work particularly well before the last song. So
Yeah.
it seemed to go down well. I think a lot of people were smiling.
Yeah, it was great. We loved it. And what about your energy on stage? Because you're jumping around all the time. And where did you get that energy? What motivates you?
I think, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but the music is all you need, really. Music and dance, like just knotted together. They've been a lot of like ancient languages. The word for music is the same one for dance. People,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
like, people will assume that they are one entity, they're one thing. So for us, our music is quite high energy often, or at least high passion, and so it makes one want to move one's feet.
Yeah, and speaking of dance moves, you got quite some moves. And I suppose you're aware of the SHIKARI shuffle, the term. Who invented that?
Fans did. I don't think we did.
No, it's in the Stabilize video.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's still
Yeah,
before
but
that.
the term, the word Shikari shuffle for it, I think
Yeah.
was coined by some fans.
Yeah.
They just started calling it that, and we're like, okay, all right, sure,
Shikari shuffle.
take it.
Good. Yeah, you've been on a festival tour this summer, or you continue to play on festivals. Do you prefer to play big festivals, or do you prefer to play small, more intimate shows?
Well, they both have their pluses and minuses. I mean, I know you, for one, love the big stages you can run around on. And for me, that doesn't really make any difference because I still sit down. You know, no matter how big the stage is for me, I still occupy the same amount of space. But there's something, there's something about the festival crowds, knowing that they're not all your fans, so it makes it feel like you have to win some people over, which kind of, it's always fun. It's always like a little, like a task, or you got to sort of feel like you've accomplished this thing by the end of the day. Whereas, kind of all the work's been done for you if at your own shape. But then, I mean, there's the heat and the I'm saying it's fucking hot today. So there's yeah, the more intimate shows are fun as well because there's like a contained sort of orb of energy that just feels like it's going to explode sometimes, which you don't get out on the festivals. By the end of the festival season, I look forward to going into club shows, but then by the end of like a long touring club shows, I'm really looking forward to getting back out into the festival season.
Okay, and what was your most favorite show you guys ever played?
Whoa. Damn.
There was one years and years ago that we played. There's a place called the Auburn Arena in our hometown, St Albans, and we played that. It took us a long time to get it. We fought against the council to get in there. For some reason, they didn't want us to play there, but we made it happen. And after we came off stage, it was one of the very few gigs that we've all come off stage saying that was a 10 out of 10. Remember that?
I think so.
It was only like maybe a handful of gigs that's ever happened, and that was one of them. But that must have been like 8 years ago now, nine years ago or something.
I'm trying to think of like one of the Vienna ones. What's that venue that's on like by a river or canal?
Yeah.
It's like
It's Flex.
Flex. Yeah. I can remember when we first played there, like 2007, maybe, I don't know.
Sound desk comes down from the ceiling or something.
Yeah,
Big,
it's a really cool venue. Is it still there?
Yeah,
Is it still
yeah.
going? Cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and I've had a really good night that night. Just sitting by the canal, drinking wine, just
Yeah.
like listening to good music. Yeah, it's
So it's in
fun.
the cafe area.
Yeah, it's cool.
great.
Hi, we're into Shikari.
MULATSCHAG.
The only TV show
you'll ever need.
Damn, look at your arm. All those festivals.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them.
Whoa.
Okay, so yeah, talking about tour life. What's the best and what are the worst parts about being on tour, being away from home?
Well, being away from home is one of the worst parts. You know, we're missing your friends and family back home, especially on a long tour. There are times like this morning where we had to get up at 5 in the morning to go to the airport to fly here, and you're standing waiting in queues. You spend half of our life just standing in queues. That kind of sucks. But then the greatest things are getting to travel the world, meet fantastic people, you know, play in front on stages with other bands that we respect and have grown up with. Yeah. And it's it's an incredible feeling when you go out in front of however many people, and they're all sort of looking at you with anticipation and a sort of febrile energy, and there's no better feeling. Like, no matter how shit you're feeling just before you go on stage, when the adrenaline kicks in and you walk out and everyone's like shouting your name, it instantly makes you feel like fantastic. It's worth it, yeah.
And what about life in a tour bus? Do you ever get on each other's nerves and annoy the shit out of each other? Or are you?
Oh, all the time, yeah. But the thing is, we've been doing it now. I mean, we've been into Shikari for 15 years. We've known each other since we were like 5 years old or something. So we know each other well enough to, we can deal with each other's vices, or know when to back off of each other, or know when to just give each other some space, or we're at a point now where we've known each other for so long that we're kind of family. So yeah, you get pissed off with them, but you still love them at the end of the day.
And speaking of back home, you have pets, you have a dog and you have a cat. Who's taking care of your pets when you're on tour for so long?
My flatmate is. Or I'll take, if it's a really long tour, then I'll take Freya to my parents' house and they'll look after her. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, my Matty P, shout out, looking after Freya. Although Freya doesn't really like him very much, so she doesn't like anyone actually. She's a bit of a bitch.
Yeah, that's
Apart from me, she loves me.
Then what about your dog?
My wife looks after him.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about the current state of the world. I mean, Trump and Brexit and everything's a bit fucked up right now. And you're a very political band. So, what do you have to say about that? What can we do to make the world a better place?
I've no idea. I've kind of come up against a bit of a brick wall with politics. There's been so many shocks and things that no one really predicted like a few years ago that this would all happen, and it's all become quite intense. The only thing that I would say is that I think we have to think about what's our long-term goal as a species, and if it's to survive, which hopefully it is, and possibly explore space and go to other worlds. If we're going to do that, then nationalism has to die. Like it's such a small-minded, blinkered, provincial ideology, and unfortunately, over the last few years, something that we've seen in the UK with Brexit, Trump in America, all through Europe with the rise of the far right, we're seeing that mindset come back of looking after your own and not really giving a shit about anyone else, even though all the biggest problems are global. So we need to become a global thinking species and embrace each other if we're gonna get through this. As well, because technology is accelerating in terms of our ingenuity a lot faster than perhaps our morals are, our psychology, our sociology. We haven't really kept up with it, so now we're at the advent of AI, which, you know, if people think nuclear weapons is scary, AI, fucking hell, like, go in a YouTube rabbit hole in AI and come out and you won't be able to sleep. So it's we have to change our mindset if we're going to deal with the technological advancements that we're sitting in front of.
Yeah. And now that you mention technological advances, I'm sorry, and space travels, if somebody would ask you to be the first band to play on a moon base or something, would you do it?
You already did.
Yeah.
Didn't you see the video?
I did. Yeah, but even if there was no coming back, would you go there and rock the moon or Mars or whatever?
That's a good question.
If there was no coming back, no.
Really?
And to be honest, like, what would be the point just to be able to go? Like, I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of money and fuel and resources spent just for a band to be able to say that they've played on the moon. Seems a bit of a waste.
You think narcissistically you'd achieve eternal life? Like, everyone would remember the first person that played music on the moon. We all want eternal life. We all want to sip from the cup of...
I don't give a shit.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about David Bowie.
Yeah, he means a great deal to all of us, I think. He's one of the biggest influences in terms of just one's fearlessness. You know, we grew up with a real broad spectrum of different types of music. But, you know, 15 years ago, it was still, you had these, everything was so genreified, like, and you were expected to stay in your lane. And him and, you know, Radiohead and all these other bands that were very eclectic and sort of went all over the place, they were hugely inspiring to us. And, yeah, after his death, me and my flatmate put on a karaoke night where we called it Bowieoke, just to celebrate his life and his catalogue and his music, and that was hugely inspirational for the Spark, because I had it was like you got the software for like a certain amount of money and you get to keep it for like 2 weeks. So I was just doing like David Bowie karaoke by myself for like 2 weeks just in my house, and I was just like, I learned a lot about my voice and about musicianship and songwriting and melody. So yeah, he, you know, even though he was dead, he was having a big impact.
MULATSCHAG.
Hey, what's up, MULATSCHAG? We are Enter Shikari.
It's the only TV you need.
MULATSCHAG!